Okay, this is the last time we're going to try this, everybody. Whoa.
Sorry, don't block the mic.
Sorry, this is the last time we're going to try this, everybody. And hopefully this will work. And you guys let me know, is this working or is it not?
I think it is.
It's working. Okay, maybe it's my telephone. I have a pretty new iPhone, but for some reason it's not working. Hooray! Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you guys are doing okay. I have a special guest, which I tried to do earlier, joining me. First of all, tell me how you all are doing and how you're getting along and what's going on. I can't believe it. Maybe it's my phone, Adriana, apparently. So I'm taking my glasses off because they're reflecting my iPad, which I'm going to turn down the... So if you guys have any questions for me, I'm going to have a little chat with Bosma St. John because she's super cool. She's, hey, yay, Bose.
We did it!
Hi. Oh, it's so much better. I'm so sorry. I think it might be my telephone, Bose, because it was just not working. And this is Adriana's phone, and it's working just fine.
You know, sometimes it's just what happens. You know what? Everything is awry now, and we just have to make do. You know?
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Well, I'm happy that you're here, and I'm happy that we can have this conversation. First of all, how are you doing during this very crazy time?
Whew. Well, first of all, I was very excited that we decided to create a drink together.
Oh, right.
Because that's how I'm feeling.
Okay, so we should tell everyone the drink we made because it's quite delicious.
Yes.
It's called a Couric Rosé.
Correct.
And it is, you guys, it's vodka, rosé wine, Prosecco, and a little lemon juice.
Yep.
And a little simple syrup. I have a shaker too. I thought this was a coffee.
But Katie, I have really something fun. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Can you read that? Badass bows on there.
Oh, wow.
My good friend Bevy Smith gave that to me. So I thought in honor of this wonderful time, I would break it out.
Yeah, I think liquor stores are doing really well these days, you know?
Yes, they are. Let's see,
and somebody's, oh, my sound is muffled. Somebody sent me, thank you guys, I'm really trying. Somebody sent me an April Fool's joke that said liquor sales were going to cut off in New York. It's a little kind of funky, the sound, right? Hold on 2 seconds.
Okay.
No, it's not that.
Should I begin sipping on my...
Yeah, go. Cheers. Cheers, Rose. So how are you? You're doing okay.
Good. This is really good. It's the first time I've had it. I think it's delicious.
You have, your daughter is how old now, Bose?
Lael is 10, and she's in the 5th grade. And it has been, very, it's been a learning for both of us on how to be at home. You know, I travel a lot. I'm often on the road, and, you know, work keeps me busy. And so now that I'm home, and I've been home for 3 solid weeks straight, you know, it's just like readjusting to a new schedule, and just, you know, new behaviors. Also, the fact that she's at home and not in school means that I have to help her with all kinds of 5th grade things. And Katie, let me tell you something. I'm not great at 5th grade. No, I'm terrible.
Oh, there's some feedback from my phone. I'm gonna move my hand away and put it. Yeah, we're gonna get some books. Hey, Bose, and we should point out you're a single mom. You lost your husband to cancer. Lael's dad, about how many years ago?
6.5 years ago. Yeah. And we were living in New York at the time. And it was a very fast cancer. You know, he was diagnosed 6 months before his death. Lael was 4 at the time. And so for us, it was, I mean, you know this well as well. It was a big adjustment, you know, to really try to figure out what life was going to be like without him. I had not planned on being a single mother. So I was, you know, trying to figure out all of the pieces. You know, it was a really, really crazy time. But, you know, at least for me, these last 6 years have been such growth, you know, and just really understanding not just like how I am as a mother to her, as a single mother to her, but even just being able to recognize my own needs, my own desires, my own ambitions. You know, what do I want in my life? And to be able to really do that, you know, go after that unabashedly so that it can also be an example to her. But that also means that in times like this, you know, I have to also keep in mind how to protect her.
Well, I was gonna ask you about that, because in many ways this must be re-triggering for her. You know, to have this sort of uncertainty and to be frightened. And how is she doing under these circumstances? Because she's still quite young.
Yeah, she is. And that's the thing, is that we have, I think, through the process of losing Peter, we really, our communication is really good, you know, and that I do my best to try and encourage her to tell me the feelings. You know, it's like, it's not just about like, hey, how are you today? You know, how was your day today? How was school? It's like, you know, how did you feel today? You know, how are you happy today? Are you sad today? Are you scared today? You know, all of the feelings questions. And so even the other night, before she went to bed, I asked her, you know, like how she's feeling about all of the news, because that's all you see. You know, it's like sickness and then death, you know, which is exactly what happened to her dad. And although it was not coronavirus, you can imagine that the same thoughts, you know, are in her head. And so I asked her about that. And she said she felt safe, which was, you know, it made me happy. But then at the same time, I also felt a lot of pressure, right? Because I was like, I don't want anything to ruin that safe feeling, not even my own anxiety, you know? And so trying to even keep myself positive, so that, you know, I'm not falling victim to any of the scary things that then could, you know, translate to her.
Well, I think kids really pick up on the anxiety of their parents. So it's important for, I think, them to feel that it's okay to be frightened, but you know, you have to model that behavior for them, talking about it, but also not manifesting with too much. You know, it's interesting. I think we have a number of widows who are watching this. I'm sorry, you guys, about the sound. I just don't know why it's so bad. So I apologize. But I guess someone is asking about how honest you are to kids about death. I'm writing a lot about this right now, Bose, in my memoir. And I'm reliving a lot of that experience, because, as you know, Ellie and Carrie were just 6 and 2 when their dad died. So it's a hard thing to manage.
Yeah. You know, Katie, do they get triggered by things like this in relation to their dad, or do you feel like they are sort of adjusted, and they've adjusted in their own lives? Like, do they feel any differently, do you think?
I don't think so. I think they're, you know, they're 28 and 24. And I remember when they turned the ages that they'd lived longer without their dad than with them. But I don't think so. I mean, I think this younger generation is more anxiety prone. Women in their 20s especially. So I think they have sometimes anxiety issues, but I think they're pretty established. We don't have another. They're asking if we have other devices that are nearby, John. I think maybe we should take the iPad way far away, you guys. Do you think that'll help?
It's not so bad on my end. I don't think it's.
Do you hear a lot of feedback from me?
I mean, it's a little bit scratchy, but it's not so terrible.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, one of the things I thought would be interesting for people who are joining us, Bose, to hear about is, yeah, there's feedback, I know, is that a lot of brands are struggling with how to deal with this whole uncertainty. And what are you seeing in your work with these big brands like Marriott and Anheuser-Busch, et cetera? And I'm going to stop talking, because it's much better when you talk on many levels than when I talk.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I'll do my, okay, you drink up. See, look at that already. Might
So
as well.
talk those, talk.
Okay. Well, I think, well, first of all, I'm a marketing nerd, right? I love it. I love everything marketing. I've been a marketer for 20 plus years at some of, the brands that are influential in pop culture. And so I'm always interested in not just what, companies are doing, but how they're talking, how they are behaving in the world. And at times like this, when there's crisis, you have to react quickly, and you have to say the right thing. But that's the scariest part, right? Is that you are a human being. I think sometimes we get confused and we think brands are these like inanimate objects that are supposed to be perfect, and we forget that they're actually human beings who are writing copy, who are putting creative out into the world, who are making decisions. So these are people with feelings, or people with families, or people who are going through different experiences, and so they are as much affected by the events of the world as we are. And so I do think about companies who are really stepping up and who have made decisions to do better in this time. And even with some of the advertising that I've seen on TV. It's like I've seen lots of restaurants who are, especially like fast food restaurants, who are advertising pickup through the drive-through. I saw that for McDonald's yesterday. I thought it was brilliant, brilliant.
I saw that with Papa John's too, and they said, "Don't worry, nobody, your pizza is safe after you order it." Someone said, "Do I have a speaker on or anything?" Somebody, and all these companies, I saw ShopRite talking about how your home is turned into a different place altogether. And I thought that was super interesting too. But how do they shoot those ads so quickly and turn them around, those?
Well, a lot of commercials right now are using like stock imagery, right? Or something that you've shot already that you can just sort of piece together, or sometimes you'll see that it is single shot, production. So you have a single actor who is in the shot, so therefore you don't have huge crews of people who are in close proximity. But I just love clever copy too. It's like I was saying, like the McDonald's one, it's like it was about the French fries, and how we all need a little comfort. And I was like, yes, actually, I like fries. I need a little fry right now.
Yeah.
It feels good to see that. But then you have like companies who are also making big moves, like Anheuser-Busch, for instance, who is turning some of their plants into production for hand sanitizer. I mean, and obviously their business is doing very well because, people are drinking. Or you have companies like Diageo, another liquor company, who's doing really, really well, but they're donating enough alcohol to make 8 million bottles of hand sanitizer. Stuff like that it's so fascinating to me, because you think about the amount of time and strategy it takes to make singular decisions that move companies. It takes a lot of time.
And I think,
around.
And Bose, during a very sort of sensitive time like this, it must be, you have to be very careful if you're a CMO or you're marketing a company, because if you're tonally off, that can have devastating consequences, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. I mean, and that's another thing, which is that we also have to remember that these marketers and the executives are human, and that they are dealing with their own feelings of anxiety, their own pressures of the business. Some of them are obviously, going through hard decisions about their staffs and all kind of things, and so to do that and also get messages right is really, really tough. And I even think of, now a new friend, Marissa Thalberg, who just started at Lowe's. She's a new CMO at Lowe's. She started, I think, in the beginning of February or something. And I wrote her an email the other day. I was like, man, there's no greater time to start a new job, like a big job like that at a business that is essential, and to create marketing programs and, make sure your staff is safe and all of those things. My God, I think it would be so much pressure, because the first 90 days, you're just trying to figure out where the bathroom is. Homegirl didn't even find out where the bathroom was before she had to go home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's just so, we have to remember how difficult it is. And, you know, this probably also has a lot to do with like my own feelings around, you know, like cancel culture, you know, and when a brand or an executive makes a mistake, even in this time, we've seen it a few times where somebody has said something off color, unless it's really rooted in like evil. I think that, you know, in this time, we actually do need to take it easy on each other.
Well,
Nobody's perfect.
I was thinking when you said about cancel culture, Peloton, that was an interesting case study that people should look at this, you know, in business school, that
Yeah.
that they portrayed a woman sort of in what many people interpreted as a demeaning way. I didn't really pick up on it,
Yeah.
actually, initially, but people really criticized that ad, and that company's stock went down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of it was also just jumping on the bandwagon, you know, because the challenge is that, you know, it is a reality for a lot of people, right? So it's like if I'm gifted, you know, a tool or equipment that maybe I wanted, or that I want to make my life better, healthier, all of those things, then, you know, I really don't see anything wrong with it. And what's interesting to me is that today, as we sit here, people are searching for things to do to keep themselves healthy and moving and productive, right? It's like, I have a Peloton, you know, I have a Peloton tread. I'm on it every day, you know?
Wow.
And I'm just trying my best to keep, you know, my energy up, to keep my blood circulating, you know, just trying to do something to keep me feeling inspired and healthy. And it, for me, it's like essential, you know? So think about how the, you know, executives at Peloton probably feel right now after coming from having been canceled to now being something that's so desired by so many people. If you could have a Peloton in your house right now, I bet you'd want it.
Well,
right?
yeah, definitely. I wish I had one, but you know, I think it's true. I think that people are so fickle. I think a brand, everything happens so quickly now. A brand can turn consumers off, but then, you know, it can change overnight. So it's just a very interesting time, I think, for these companies. What advice would you give companies that are struggling right now, Bose?
Well, first, for the executives who are making the decisions, you know, it's first to forgive yourself. You know, forgive yourself for the mistake you're going to make, because you probably will make one. You know, and it will lessen the anxiety and sometimes what happens with paralysis, you know, in making that decision. Because if you overthink it, if you agonize over it, you probably are going to do it wrong. It's like any other kind of, you know, tightrope or, you know, like sort of balancing act that you would do, right? If you overthink it, you're going to fall, you know? And so forgiving yourself, first of all, for the mistake is immediate. You know, it's like psychology 101. It's trying to make yourself feel at ease. And then the next thing is to really put yourself into the moment. You know, I think so many times as executives of big companies, we often think of the objective point of view. You know, we're trying to speak to a lot of people. And so you are constantly trying to make things less edgy, you know, cut down the edges. And right now, we are literally all in this together. You know, it's like, it sounds like a hashtag, but it's not. It's that we are all in this together. And so just think about yourself. You know, funny enough, I mean, for my own marketing strategy, I always do that. My teams will tell you, I'm a focus group of one. If I like it, great, we're going with it. You know?
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, right now, that's what you've got to do. So for businesses, it isn't even small businesses, large businesses, you're trying to communicate with your customer and your audience to remind them that you are around, maybe to give them information about how to continue to engage with your business. I think about a lot of small businesses in that way, you know, who are struggling. And I wonder if those executives or those founders are putting themselves into the words. You know, it's like you are a part of the community. You're not this, you know, brick and mortar building. And so if you put yourself, make it super personal, people will find more empathy. I think right now that's one of the most beautiful things I'm seeing out of this epidemic is how much empathy we have for each, how much people are just sort of like, you know, crossing the line, crossing over into other lines to be able to help each other out. And so if executives and founders stop being so objective, right, and putting like the hand out to block, like, you know, all of the things that you think you shouldn't do, and actually make it super personal, we might actually find that, you know, we're able to connect to our audiences better. And that's all you really need right now. You know, people don't necessarily need 30% off. They just need to know that you care, you know, and are you giving them something that's going to help them in this very moment? I mean, back to the McDonald's things, like they've always sold fries, you know, but they're not giving us percentage off on fries. But you know what I want right now? Some fries. That's what I want.
Yeah. So it's sort of understanding people's needs. Is this better, you guys? I put Adriana's earphones in, but I don't think that's any better.
Let's see. I can't even
Hold
read
on.
the comments down there.
Oh, can you see the comments?
I
think
really, but that's all right.
Yeah, you can't.
Sort of.
Okay.
Oh, I see some of my friends on here though. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so fun. Look at all these people.
What about companies that are really afraid about the future, Bose? Because I think, I know, I'm sorry, the sound is terrible, you guys. They need a headset with a cord. We tried that one. Don't I have one? It doesn't fit in Adriana's phone. We're going to get our audio, visual, IT stuff together, everybody. I apologize. But what about companies that are really, really nervous about the future? They're really hurting. There's not a lot of government help for medium-sized companies. For small companies, there are. I'm going to turn the volume down. Everyone's trying to give me advice here.
I love that they're trying to give me
that
advice.
better. Thank you guys for helping me. What advice would you give those companies?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that, you know, I think I don't post Corona because we don't even know what that means, you know, but post our isolation, let's say when we're back in the world and we are trying to pick up the pieces, again, I would, if I were an executive of a medium-sized company, well, actually any company, even my own, where I am, is again trying to do our best to remain human. You know, truly human, not the math that we're trying to, you know, write out, not trying to only look at what it will take to get our numbers back to where we are, you know, slashing prices or finding other ways to get promotions out. You know, I think we forget most of the time in marketing and in leading businesses that we actually really do need to connect emotionally, you know, and I know it probably sounds very frou-frou and up here and not tactical, but I think once you start looking at your community, you start looking at your audience, you start thinking about what it is that they actually need in that moment, because you are part of that community. You know, you have needs as well. Oh, look at
this is Carrie's kitty, Mabel.
Oh my God, Mabel. How old is Mabel?
So cute. Mabel's like 2 years old.
Oh,
She's so cute.
Let me get somebody to cuddle. Lael.
Yeah, tell Lael to come and say hi.
Come here. Come.
Okay, so you guys,
I got somebody to cuddle too.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How's it going, Lael? How's homeschooling?
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Here, you can sit right here.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Are you doing okay with this whole situation?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the hardest part about it for you?
Maybe school.
School. And I was saying to your mom, Lael, that you're an only child, so I'm sure you count on your friends at school and your friends from the neighborhood, so you're probably a little lonely.
Not very.
No?
Tell Auntie Katie what you're doing, because this girl's busy.
Oh, are you doing Couric?
Yeah. What are you doing? How are you connecting with your friends?
FaceTime and Zoom.
FaceTime.
Yes. We have like, I mean, I think the other day we lost like 4 hours worth of play date over
Wow.
FaceTime. I mean, it was aggressive.
Well, I hope I get to see you soon, Lael, in person.
Same.
Okay,
So cute.
she's like wriggling to get out of here.
Anyway, but Bose, I do think that right now people are establishing a sense of community that's really wonderful. I feel very close to the people who follow me on social media. I feel like we're actually supporting each other. I'm trying to provide content that is useful and helpful to them. And
well, Katie, I have to tell you that the updates that you provide on your page, they're so great. They're so helpful, to me. Let's just make this about me. They're so helpful to me because, it can be so overwhelming. All of the other news and, the press conferences and the disruption, like you're trying to watch some TV to like just escape. And then here comes a news bulletin. It's jarring and it's scary. And so when I turn that off, or I do my best to turn it off, I usually come to your page at the end of the day to see what has happened, or like what are the updates, because it's so much easier for me to distill that. And I just appreciate the fact that you're doing that. And
well,
also
thanks.
that you, darling, have been so, you've evolved in a way that is so incredible, on all of these platforms, the way that, people are able to connect to you. And I'm actually curious about how you're dealing, because you're getting so much information. And how are you even dealing with information and then distilling it to other people?
Well, someone said we might have 2 apps open on the phone. Hold on 2 seconds, Bose. That might be better. I hope, everyone. Thank you guys for your patience. It's not really helping that much, but we're gonna work with it. Bose, I tried to. Well, Julia Lewis, who's watching, who works with me, it was her idea to come up with those updates every night.
Oh.
And I'm trying to provide some serious news, but also some inspiring news, because it's sometimes just too much to handle, so much sadness and so much anxiety. So I think it's really trying to find the right balance, whether it's sharing with people a life that was lost to COVID-19, because I feel like we hear so many numbers, but these are all lives. These were people who mattered and people who contributed and had people who loved them and who they loved. So I'm trying to put a human face on this terrible pandemic. I'm also trying to show the solidarity. We posted something about the New York firefighters all blowing their horns and putting their sirens on for the staff at NYU Hospital.
Yes.
And I try to have 2 things that are kind of fun and will make people smile or laugh. So I think a phone isn't against the laptop. Thank you. So it's really trying to just find the right combination of content. And I think the one thing I have brought to the table consistently throughout my career is authenticity. And I think that people know that I'm sharing things I really care about, that I think are important, and that, someone liked the Ramona articles. That's a friend of mine who's writing those. So, I love to communicate. I love to break down complicated stories. I'm sorry, someone said their next door neighbor passed away today, Nancy. I'm sorry, Nancy. It's just so awful. And I think one good thing is I'm an old soul in new media. And I think because I've been around so long, people kind of know me. They know what I stand for, and I think they trust me. And so as a result, I've seen a lot of people gravitate to the content that I'm providing, because during uncertain times, you want to make sure that the information that you're getting is accurate and fair, and, you know, and that you have somebody putting thought into what you're putting out, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And I mean, I think that's just what's so wonderful about being able to have someone like you who really does feel like a friend, you know, who's providing information, but it doesn't feel like rumor, you know, it feels factual. And like you said, you know, you've been doing this for a minute. And I'm always very curious about how you protect yourself, you know, in this. Like, I'm not talking about physically, but, you know, emotionally and mentally, because of how much you hear and see and then have to distill, you know, and how that could perhaps be helpful, you know, again, even to me or to those who are listening.
Yeah. You know, I think that I've always been pretty good in a crisis situation. I'm pretty clear thinking. And so, as a result, I think that, you know, I'm able to compartmentalize and focus on, you know, I think when you lose somebody you love to cancer, oh, someone's saying mute your mic while the other is speaking and the feedback should go away. We're going to get this down, Bose. But I think that when you lose somebody and you feel so powerless, you realize there are things that you can do, but there's only so much you can do. And I think actually accepting that and kind of riding that wave is really useful. If that makes sense. Hey, Bose, I think we're going to have to say goodbye because my team is saying people are leaving us, which makes me sad because I think we're fascinating personally.
I think we're fascinating too.
And people are asking what we're drinking, you guys. And we're drinking something called the Coze Rosé.
Yes.
My friend Bose. And it's vodka. Is it 1 part vodka? 1 part vodka, 1 part rosé,
How much you want.
and 2 parts Prosecco. And it's quite delicious and has a little lemon juice, as Bose has on her glass.
Yes.
And a little simple syrup, which we didn't have, so I'm just doing without it.
Yeah, I didn't have it either. But, you know, I had a little more vodka to mine.
So someone is asking for another conversation about being a widow, and I think that would be really interesting. Bose and I are going to be doing some projects together, everybody, including some podcasts we're very excited about, because I really love Bose's spirit, and she knows so many interesting people, and we have much in common, but we also have very different perspectives, given our life experiences. So we're going to be doing some fun things together because I think the world of her. Someone's saying Darius water. It's not water. It's the Bose. Coze Rosé. Anyway, Bose, I'll let you get back to layout. Yes, I have a regular podcast called Next Question. And also, we have a great newsletter that Bose loves called Wake Up Call. Some of you all subscribe, but if you haven't, just go to katiecouric.com, and every morning in your inbox will be the information you need to know, so you don't have to stay connected to media all day long that may create more anxiety.
So good. I love it.
Anyway, all right. So my family is here looking at me. They don't they don't look super interested in this. Say hi, John.
Oh, there's Mona. Hi.
Say hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Say hi, Adriana.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
So we're going to watch the final episode of Tiger King tonight.
Oh man.
Have you seen the whole thing?
Yes. I binge watched it over like 2 days. It's nuts. It's so crazy.
So nuts.
Oh my gosh. I have a friend from high school who I was on, and we were on a Zoom together because this is supposed to be our 25th year anniversary and we're missing it. She just moved to Colorado, which is where, you know, I went to high school. Her name's Keisha, and she just moved to like a farm and she has chickens, and she's
Wow.
about to become the chicken queen, is what she said. And I was like, listen, I don't know anything about that. Please don't do that.
Well, watching the Tiger King will make you feel very normal. I like John said they call it a docu-series when it's really just a reality show, but you feel so much better about yourself watching a docu-series.
I don't know if I feel good about myself after watching 12 hours of that.
Right?
How long it was.
He is one weird dude, isn't he? They're all really weird.
All very strange. I really was not aware that existed. And I feel like now I will never look at the world the same ever again. So
I think there's a weird segment of society with every weird fetish. There are people who dress up like teddy bears. I mean, there's, right? Aren't there? Well, my daughter's embarrassed. But there are all kinds of weirdos out there.
yeah,
But I guess everybody's weird, right, Buzz?
Everybody's got some sort of strange thing about them, you know, but I have to say the tiger situation was a little out there. I really was not prepared. But we're finding a lot of content out there these days. So
I'm trying to stick to PBS documentaries. Not really.
No, we need entertainment.
Anyway. All right, folks, it's so good to see you. Everyone, this was fun. Thank you for spending some time with us tonight.
Bye.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.